Hi everyone, Malcolm Brody here again for Human Vortex Training. Welcome back. We have a special Tuesday. I know it's supposed to be Bow Tie Tuesday, but today we are rocking the Mr. Rogers cardigan with the zipper. So sorry for letting everybody down with those bow ties. Today I have a very special midweek answer. Craig W. actually posted directly to the Facebook page a question about clinchers versus tubulars. Craig is a local triathlete going into his third year, second year competitive. Great guy, works hard. I've known him for a number of years, and I've really seen the work that he's put on the last couple of years pay off. And he's really making leaps and bounds, and he's growing with his equipment on his bike, as should you. One of the most important things that I like to stress to all of the athletes at Human Vortex Training is it's not about the equipment that you have and that you're using necessarily, especially the bicycle. A lot of us like to take the bike and buy a really nice one right out of the bat, or really nice cycling shoes for our first pair of clipless shoes. And I know that name doesn't make a lot of sense, and we'll talk about that later. But you want to take equipment that fits and maybe is a level or two above where you currently are, and begin with that. I have a couple athletes here who decided to go and purchase really nice shoes first out of the gate with really nice pedal systems. And so what happened is during their learning curve, they destroyed a good $500 or $600 pair of shoes because they hadn't had that learning curve yet, where you don't walk in $500 cycling shoes very much. They're not good commuting shoes, or you don't buy an expensive wheel set if you don't know when you need to take them back and have them trued. So a lot of different things that we'll talk about here over the coming months and years. But just a starter for right now, Craig, to answer your question, there's a huge price difference and a huge performance difference between tubulars and clinchers. So for those of you who are not aware, clinchers tend to be your standard tire and inner tube. So clinchers are our empty shell right here, and we have on the tube, you have the tube goes inside, have the valve, it goes into the onto the wheel, and it's held on by the hook and a clinch on the inside of the wheel. Now the thing is that if you were to stand here and hold these up together, they weigh a good amount, and there's a lot of material here that we need to have. One of the things, the biggest advantages that you have for running a tubular versus a clincher is a decrease in weight. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot to most of you. Oh, it's another half a pound. Or some of you are like, wow, you know, another 50 grams. That's a lot of weight. Regardless of whether or not you're counting weight on the bike, the amount of force that it takes to get the centrifugal force up and rolling and to stay rolling with this much weight on the wheel is significant. So if we compare this, and I don't have a tubular tire here, but if we compare this to a tubular is actually sewn up. So there is no inner tube. What it looks like is there's a little knitted patch, we'll say, all the way around. This is a complete closed encasement, which allows air to go in and be held. It's a huge advantage, especially for cross, and it's starting to make its way into mountain biking a little bit more frequently. The biggest advantage that you have, aside from running with less amount of energy to get up to and stay at speed when you're running a tubular, is that you're actually able to run that tire at much lower pressures, because here we have a tube and a clinching system on the rim, and you guys have heard of Snakebite Flats or pinch flats. Well, what that is that if you don't pump up your tube, let's say, even if it's a new tube, and you go out and you're a heavier rider like myself, you know, 195 pounds, and let's say you have 80 pounds of pressure in your tires, you get a pinch flat. And what that is this is pressing down, and the inner tube kind of comes out, and it pinches, and a small cut is made, and then you have a flat. As you can see here in this Mavic Cerium wheel set, which by the way is for sale, Shimano hubs, untouched to the road, I paid $825 for sale, $775 at a loss here, $750. If anybody's interested, let me know. We have a clinching system here, whereas tubulars, the setup here is a little bit different. There isn't this hook on the inside, which you guys can't really see, I don't think, but you can kind of see the reflection there. There's a little bit of a hook right underneath here, and what that is that's where the tire itself is going to grab into the wheel. So this is a three-part system. you have the wheel, you have the inner tube, and then you have the tire that's clinching or sitting onto that rim there. Whereas tubulars, this is going to be much smoother. You're not going to have a clinch there. It'll actually be a smooth surface. So one, there's less weight on the wheel itself because you don't have to have that extra weight or the extra metal to come over and create that little hook. And two, you actually glue the tires on, which is a very cumbersome process the first couple times you do it and messy. And there's a proper way to do it and an improper way. You have to glue it, you have to let it sit for a couple hours or overnight, you have to put more glue on, then you have to let it sit again, then you have to sand it down so that there's something for the glue that you're going to put on next and set the tire on. Then you have to make sure that the tire is set properly, and then you're sanding off the glue from the side, not disturbing the brake area. But all this are details. The bottom line is that yes, you're going to pay a much larger price for tubular wheels. If you're not sold on them versus clinchers, go out and ride a bike, your bike, take it to your bike shop and ask them if they have a pair of tubulars that you can borrow and roll around on, and ask them, do you mind if I roll around the parking lot or go down to the local track or a safe enclosed area to try riding these. Once you get up to speed, the amount of force that you have to put into the pedals to get up to speed and stay at speed is so much less, and it's significantly noticeable versus clinchers, which are the standard road wheel. The big disadvantage, I would say, or the only disadvantage to riding tubulars is that if you get a flat, it's something that you have to carry a special canister that has like a goo in it and also CO2, and you have to put those on. Those are a little bit more expensive, but it's a little bit harder to blow a flat on tubulars unless you go over glass or something sharp, of course. So, Craig, really great question. My recommendation is, if you're in your third year for triathlon, I would say if you can afford the tubulars, go for it. Otherwise, stick with a really good set of wheels. Caserium Mavics are pretty good. You can also go up and look at 202s or 303s by Zip. I am a big fan of the Zip brand. I think they do a lot of good things, a lot of research. The SRAM wheels are similar. A lot of people don't know that SRAM actually bought Zip. And the big thing about Zip and about a wheel isn't necessarily the build of the wheel, but it's the quality of the bearings inside the hub here that create the friction or decrease. So while let's say a Nuvation wheel looks just like a Zip wheel and it has the same dip, the same depth, the same amount of weight, the same build, yada yada yada, what really matters about a good quality wheel are the bearings that you have in here. Just like if you were to go into a bike shop and ask them for ceramic bearings versus the steel bearings for your bottom bracket, the ceramic bearings will last longer and they're going to be much smoother, and you'll see a fairly significant change over in performance. Now, if you don't bike that often, or you're biking on the weekends and you're not paying too much attention, you may not notice it. But for most of us out there who are doing competitions, if you ride one bike with ceramic bearings and the same bike with steel bearings, there's a little bit of a noticeable difference over the course of a half hour, or a threshold effort, just like there are for the wheels. So, Craig, excellent question. I just want to touch a little bit more on some basic equipment stuff. So this time of year is a great time to look online and find deals for summer gear. Everybody's clearing it out. They have winter gear. Right now, spring gear is coming out. So look at all the different online places. Check your local bike shop. Here in Pittsburgh, we have Big Bang Bicycles, Pro Bikes, Bike Tech, Top Gear, Trek of Pittsburgh. There are a lot of different bike shops here, and each one has different stuff on sale. After the new year, a lot of them will have sales to get rid of last year's equipment. And really, when you look at the biggest difference, it's color, it's fashion, and unless you want to have the latest and greatest, it's a great time of year right now to get solid deals on really quality equipment. So keep your eyes out for that. Lastly, another question that I had was a little bit in regards to some of the books that I recommended. A couple people are saying, well, why are you giving us a mental training book in December? Why are we learning anatomy? I don't care about anatomy. I just care about riding my bike or swimming or biking or running. What I'm trying to do is help you increase your knowledge so that you're better able to guide your own training or your own coaching. And again, as I said during that video, the biggest difference between someone qualifying for an Olympic championship event and winning, most of the time, physiologically, they're level. But when you get upstairs, there's a huge difference. And whether you're competitive or not, And it can be competitive off the bike. Maybe you're the top of your field. Maybe you're moving up in your field, or you're moving up in your company, or moving laterally to move up. This is all a huge confidence boost. And in order to have that confidence, you need to have positive self-talk all the time, even on days you just aren't feeling it, especially on days you're not feeling it. The moment that you start to negatively talk to yourself, the other person is always won, regardless of what it is. Taking a parking spot in a parking lot, race to a town sign, pay raise, whatever it may be. I'm blanking out, but there are so many different options that I'm sure you can think of that you have to always positively talk to yourself, and that's what magical running will give you. As far as the Urban Cycling by Robert Hurst, a lot of you have had good feedback from that. A lot of you said, wow, there's a lot of stuff in that book. I just looked at it on Amazon and I didn't even know half this stuff. Exactly. It's common knowledge, or it should be. And I'm trying to be here and give you guys good, solid information, good books to help you learn more. And again, the point of this video series is to add value. This isn't necessarily a marketing tool. Like, of course, yes, I'm putting the time into it, and I'd love to have you guys as clients, have each and every one of you work with me so I can help you achieve personal zeniths, but that's not my driving factor behind these. My driving factor behind each and every one of these videos is to help you do the best you can out of your time to train and how you're training. I want to help give you information so that you personally can take what I'm talking about, go purchase tubulars if it's your third year and you have the money and you have a solid bike. Or maybe go and try a pair, or say, hey, you know what, I'm getting more competitive, it's time for me to get a coach. Coaches will get you much farther than buying the fastest equipment or fastest wheel set. The best idea that you can do in your second or third year of training is pay for a coach. You've made the mistakes, you've learned your body. Hiring a well-reputable coach who's helped others, who has a good CV of athletes, it's one of the best things you can do. A new bike, yeah, it'll make you faster for a little bit, but it's not going to get you to train smarter. It's not going to get you faster for a prolonged period of time. We in the endurance sports are so into purchasing a new wheel set. These wheels haven't been used. I purchased them, in November or December of last year, and the plan was to break them out when I was going into my peak, because then I was going to be physiologically fit and I was going to need every little bit that I could to get a little bit better for the next races. For next year, I'm trying to sell these so I can get a better bike at this point, because physiologically I'm going to be at the best point I can, and I want to move forward from there. And I'm personally being coached by myself, and I have another coach who works with me to read my training plans, and I coach him and he coaches me, and that way we're not training ourselves. And that's what you want out of a good coach, is they're looking to another expert in their field to help them as well. The coach always should have a coach, should always have a coach, should always have a coach, should always coach, yada yada yada. You get the idea. So guys, thank you very much. It's a little bit of a longer video than I intended, but there's so much information that I just want to give you guys. I wish I could take all this knowledge that I have and just shove it into your head, or put it on a computer screen. So thank you for bearing with me on both tie and now Cardigan Tuesday. I look forward to more questions, great questions. Keep them coming in. I've already had 8 or 9 so far. It's only Tuesday, and that video was posted Sunday morning. Again, help me get my message out there. I'm asking each and every one of you to get 5 people a link to this video on your blog. If you want a specific question answered, or you have anything else going on, or you hear somebody, hey, I was wondering about stretching or good books to read, shoot in my blog. Again, I'm here because I want to help disseminate the highest quality knowledge in a usable form so each and every one of you can be out there training smarter, not harder, and it's all about you. Have a great Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tomorrow's hump day. Get out there, get your quality ride in, and I will see you guys on Saturday or Sunday. And we have a video series coming up. Some really good questions. I'm going to give a 3 or 4 part video series for that. So keep your eyes open. Have a great week, guys. Keep it up.